Hey everybody, welcome to Bonus Stuff. We just got done reviewing. We got two reviews for you this week: Uzumaki and Megaopolis. So go check those out. And we are just gonna dive right into the chaos that was Rings of Power this week. So,
Yay.
episode
Are we
seven,
just watching it?
episode seven,
Oh
doomed to
God,
die. I brought some visual aids for you guys this time. So Kelly Brimborn's drinking his morning coffee, enjoying
Bailey's and cream.
the morning day. Before he goes in, he's got to work on those 9 rings again. He says hello to Mr. Mouse. There's Mr. Mouse. Remember Mr. Mouse, because he is going to be an important
He's
part of this
pivotal.
episode. He is pivotal.
Oh, he's
Um,
adorable.
Kelly looks at the mirror. He looks kind of like not good, and he's like, "What's going on?" He looks at it again. He's fine. He notices that his hammer's missing. He's like, "Where's my hammer?" Oh, it's missing some jewels in it. He sees the hammer, but jewels are missing. Uh,
My hammer's not fabulous enough.
so, Sauron comes in. He's like, "I've enjoyed our time together, but all things must end. It's a pity that we can't stay together, Kelly. But I need those 9 rings." Meanwhile, the city is on fire. Look at it.
Promising it.
It's all on fire. So Sauron's walking out there, and Adar, he's there with his orcs, and he says, "It is time." Um, so they start firing on the city. The city has really strong walls. They can't break through it. The elves are like, the river's gonna protect us. We just gotta stay here. And Sauron's like, "I am taking command. Kelly's mind has gone nuts, so it's all up to me to protect you people." And he's like, and he looks at the orcs, and they're turning their little turrets, and he's like, "Oh, get ready for ground assault," because this is what they're doing. They see this. They're having no luck shooting this wall down, right? So they're like, "Hey, look at that mountain over there, way up miles away. So let's shoot at that mountain, and we will hit rocks off this mountain, and it will crumble into the river and block up the river, and we can just walk across." I don't think that's how mountains
Genius.
work. Yeah, not sure that's how mountains work, but that is what they do. It's Mr. Mouse again. He's back. So Kelly's still working in there, but he's noticing, like he noticed Mr. Mouse, and he's noticing the candles aren't getting dimmer or not losing any wax. And so he's knows something's up, right?
He time stopped.
Meanwhile, what?
He time stopped.
Yeah, he times. So Durin is back in the mines, and him and Adisa are ready to attack. And the other dwarves are all like, "Wait, we're on our side. That guy's nuts. We'll be on your side." Um, so, and then they're like, "Hey, your friend Elrond's here." And he's like, "Oh, okay, my old friend's here." And they kind of got the bromance going. And he's like, "Dude, I've got to overthrow my father. I'm in a bad way." And Elrond's like, "I don't really care about that. I need your axe, and I need it now." Because he's going to go fight Sauron. And they go back there, and so they have a Ravager, which is like a thing to break down the wall, because they really need to break down the wall. It's Mr. Mouse for a third time. Sauron comes in. "Where are the rings?" And Kelly's like, "Hey, wait a minute. Look at that mouse." And he's like, "What about the mouse?" He's like, "That's a mouse. I am that mouse." He says, "We have all the time in the world. You know why? Because time has stopped in this place." And someone's like, "Well, you wanted peace. I gave it to you." And Kelly's like, "This is not a gift." And he's like, "You," someone's like, "You begged for my instruction, just give me those rings." And Kelly starts freaking out. He's like, "What have you done to me? Why am I stuck in time?" And he's like, "Who are you? Like, who? This isn't the power of like a good guy." And someone
I
gets
don't.
mad.
I don't even
So,
know you anymore. He says, and then
yeah.
he's like, "Well, maybe if you take me out once in a while." And he's like, "Well, maybe if you look a little better."
Maybe you made these 9 rings. Kelly gets so mad he throws a hammer at him. And finally, he breaks the little spell he's under, and he sees the battle. And Kelly starts crying, and he knocks over the mithril that Sauron had given to him. And he noticed that there's some black blood in the mithril. Um, Actually, I picture that. Yeah, so
Oh.
there's the venom goo stuck in the mithril.
So when he puts the ring on, it goes venom.
And
Venom, venom, venom.
and Sauron like raises his hand. He's like, "Oh," because he shows like the blood in there, and he's like, "What have you done?" And
What happened?
he's like, "You're him, aren't you? You're Sauron." Um,
He's like,
and
this
then
is chocolate. And he said, "Mm."
he runs, and he gets hit by a fireball. And he's like, "We have been deceived." And he goes to these elves that are just standing on the wall, and there's his apprentice, and he's like, "I'm out of prison. You have to believe me. It's Sauron sees him." And they're like, "No, dude, you're the crazy one." And Sauron's been protecting us the whole time, right? And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Okay, go back to your little room and make the rings." He's like, "No." And he pushes Sauron force pushes this lady off a wall, and she falls in. The orcs kill her, so she's dead now.
The
Um,
fall didn't kill her?
no, she she like hits the
You're thinking about
floor.
this too much, Jared.
She hit the floor. They like turn over, and she's still alive. Because they're like, "Hey, show me your hand, Sauron," because he says it's black, but he does, and it's just red. And they're like, "Oh, see." Um,
False
so
alarm, guys.
Sauron uses the Force, and he says, "Finish the rings, and I will spare the city, and I'm going to create peace in the whole world." Then we get a horn, and it sounds like an organ for some reason. It doesn't sound like a horn, but it's our friend Elrond, and he has arrived. He has like fast travel in this show because somehow he got from the mines to here, all dressed and with the king. I don't know how you went that fast, but the king's there. It's very weird because it's like he's not like they never show him in the wide shots with the army, but they just like cut to him and he's like, "Oh, I'm here," and he doesn't like command the army at all, even though he's the high king, right? Okay, and this part was funny. So they're running, they're charging because they're here. They're charging the orcs, and you see this little cart here. It had a cloth on it, and they like remove the cloth, and it's Galadriel in the cage. And I really thought they were gonna go like the cartoon sound of like brakes squeaking and stop the whole thing. But he's like, "Halt!" So they all stop, and they're like, "Hey, we gotta have a meeting now because the orcs want a meeting."
There's
Um,
too much action. We have to slow it down a bit.
yeah, we gotta slow down the episode. Um, so they're having their meeting, and Adar's like, "You know what? Give me the ring, and I'll fight this battle for you." And everyone's like, "No, never." And then he's like, "Okay," he's like, "Fine, leave, and I'll see you on the battlefield, right?" And so everyone's like, "Well, can I at least say goodbye to Gladriel?" And then we get the kiss heard round the world, which what happened to I don't have the screenshot, but okay, Elrond kisses Galadriel. Who is his mother-in-law in the canon. Apparently, she's not in this. It's not a romantic kiss. They're doing a trick on Adar, right? And he's like handing her something for her to escape.
Spits a
But
key in her mouth.
you don't really need a kiss to do that. You could just say like do that head bump thing that they're always doing and be like, goodbye. But for some reason the show wanted them to kiss, so they had their kiss. Even Adar looks weird at this. He's like, "What the heck was that?" But he doesn't like stop them or anything. Um, so the
The,
dwarves
the orcs are like, "Oh."
So Darren, yeah, the orcs. Darren gives a big speech, and he's like, "We got to go help. We got to help defeat
It
Sauron
looks
because
like the
only we
heat
can
miser
do
from
it."
the old Christmas claymation.
It looks like he's going like this.
Look at
His
my
nipples.
nipples.
My tipples. So he gives that speech.
No, Michael, I like the heat miser more. That's a good one. I'm Mr. Heat Miser. He's Mr. Snow.
So yeah, they're all the dwarves rejoice, man, because they're happy. they're like, yeah, we're into this battle. So in the back to the battle,
Horse
everyone
died?
says the horse died, Jared. His horse has died. Before this, he put like his helmet on and it looked like it didn't fit. It was kind of weird. I guess it's all that hair. So Darren gives a speech. Orc, do you know how this horse died, Jared? The orc actually slit its throat. Because Elrond had fallen off the horse, and like this orc comes and just like slits the horse's throat, like he's an assassin of horses or something.
Sure.
So Elrond gets mad, and you see that little, launcher there. He like beats up the orc, puts him in the launcher, shoots the orc at the wall, and crashes into the wall.
Nice.
So meanwhile, Orc Daddy comes and he's like, "This wall is really tough, Adar. We are having some trouble with this wall. Many orcs are dying." And then he calls Adar, right? It sounds like he's saying Dada whenever he's talking to Adar. And then we get this line. He says, I gotta move your cab. He gets, "You told us you loved." Orc says this, Thomas. It happens.
Oh my.
You said you'd be proud of me. You said that we would play catch after we killed all the elves.
Orc Daddy, man, he's in touch with
Is if there's this much like orc like unrequited love of their father, is there going to be an Orc Field of Dreams movie coming out?
Yes. Did you even know there was a word for love in Orc in the Black Tongue? So where are we? And Adar says, "I love you too much." Slaves to Sauron.
Too much.
Galadriel escapes, and she's escaping. She's like this little person who's got a hood on, but still they can't figure out it's her. And one of the orc ladies is like, "Hey, help us move this body," and she's like, "Okay." Adar walks right by her, doesn't even notice her. Adar cries for the orcs. He goes to the orc funeral and cries for them. And then Galadriel is saved by Don Lemon. He's here. He was here the whole time.
Don Lemingless, I believe, is
And
how
he
Critical Drinker says it.
He says, "I'm here for Adar." And she's like, "The true fight is later. Don't try to kill it." Because he had like an open shot to just kill Adar right there with an arrow. And she's like, "No, don't do it. The true fight is later."
Why would you wait? Why would
I
you
don't
wait
know.
if you
Because
had
she's the dumbest character who's ever been. So Durin is ready to lead the dwarves to the battle, and they're like, "Wait, Durin, don't go. Your dad is killing all of us." And he's about to unleash the beast. So
the juice is loose, Durin?
So Durin is not able to go. Sauron talks to Kelly again. He says he starts quoting, "This too shall pass." People, and then he talks about his backstory. He's like, they treated, "You've been treated like Morgoth treated me. He was such a bad dad, that Morgoth." It's just so stupid. And Kelly's like, "Well, you're really good at, you could deceive, you're a deceiver, you can even deceive yourself." So Kelly is gonna break out of his bonds, and he finds this kind of press. He's a smith. You think he could get out of some chains, but no, he's gonna cut off his thumb so he can get out of the chains. And he does. He no more thumb for Kelly, and he gets his freedom. And he falls again. He gets like blasted again, and he wakes up, and the elves are looking at him. He's like, "Look at it. He looks like a dead fish." So the Galadriel comes and says, "Release him. He's in charge." And he's like, "My lady, take the ring." So he gives Galadriel the ring, the 9 rings. And he's like, "I built this city. I got to stay here and defend it."
This city.
And the elves are like, "He won't be alone," because it's like they got to quote Avengers now. So they're like, "We got you, Kelly." Meanwhile, okay, this part was hilarious. So Elrond's on the battlefield, right? And this girl comes up to him and she's like, "Dude, we're getting decimated out here. There's no hope." And he's like, "No, we got this, girl. You're the best shot ever. You're the you just takes one shot of your arrow and we're gonna win this. And, and so they advance a little, right? They advance to like the next tree line or whatever. And he's like, you know, we just need to get you a shot, so we'll cover you. So we get Vance. And like he looks back and she gets like hit by like 50 arrows. It looked like something.
Jeez.
It looks like something out of like Robin Hood Men in Tights
Looks like a pincushion.
so she gets shot, but she doesn't die from this somehow. She gets up, grabs an arrow, puts it on fire, shoots it at some pitch in a bucket. There she is shooting her arrow, and then she hits this bucket. It's like napalm exploding everywhere. It just crushes the orcs. Um, and then she finally dies. So, and then Adar's like, send him in. And Papa Orc's like, no, he will kill us. He'll kill us too, not just them. And he's like, I don't care. So they send in the hill troll and he starts killing everything. And meanwhile, Sauron's talking with Kelly and he's like, you won't touch another ring. He's gonna he tries to fight Sauron with the other elves, but Sauron uses the force again and the elves end up killing each other. And you know, he's just there to stall him.
I thought
So
Kelly escaped.
He did, but he went back. He went back to stop Sauron. The troll uses like a dude for a meat shield, and everyone's kind of impressed by this. Papa Orc is so disappointed in Adar, man, because he's like, Adar's like, charge, and Papa Orc just leaves. He's like, I don't know. I don't know about this guy. I thought
he
loved
doesn't love us.
So Elrond Elrond hurts the troll, and he's like, ah. And then Don Lemon comes and does like a Legolas flip in front of the troll, and then the King Elf comes and they all take down the King Elf's like, go back to your hill, troll, and they all kill him. And the troll dies with a laugh. He dies laughing. And Elrond's like, what are you doing here, King? No one's seen you in the battle. And he's like, you know, I'm the king. I got to be in the battle.
What are you talking about? I did everything.
Yeah. And then you hear horns, and you know, so they're expecting the dwarves to come because they thought the dwarves are coming. So Elrond's like, look to the north, you know, because it's got to be like Twin Towers. But so they look, and it's just one guy on a horse, and he's like dead. He comes down, he's like, oh, the dwarves aren't coming. They told him to go back. He's like, oh no. And Elrond's like, all, you know, he's like, it's all broken. He's like, Durin will come. Durin will come. He just keeps saying that over and over. Meanwhile, King Elf's like, you know, form ranks. Let's go. And they all start fighting, and Don Lemon dies just like his C&M show. And then the orcs, the orcs finally get through the wall, and Adar picks up Elrond by the throat, and he's like, "They'll never fight war in anger," and he throws him down to the ground, and he gets the ring. So Adar has his ring, and then cut to the credits, and I kid you not, death metal starts playing. So you know how Tolkien loved his death
Heck
metal.
yeah.
That is how they ended the episode.
But where you said the mouse? I thought he was going to come in at the final battle. You said he was pivotal.
He broke his spell of being in time. He finally figured out. The mouse helped him figure out that he was in time. All right. So if you thought that was a crazy saga, another company had a crazy saga.
Hold
this
on,
week.
before we leave that, did Michael watch this episode?
No, I didn't.
No, he
yet.
said he did.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is it getting better or worse? Because
This was probably the best episode, but it was just because it was so funny that you kept laughing at all the stupid stuff that was going on. It was the most entertaining, I guess. Okay, so like I was saying, a company had a saga of its own. In that company this time was called Ubisoft, or you might call them Oopsie Soft because they always make the oopsie.
Oopsie doodles.
Oopsies.
So it was like day after day with them this week. So they started off and I saw that they had canceled their Tokyo Game Show appearance and also had stopped all previews for Assassin's Creed. Um,
Oh my.
so they did that, and then after that, I saw that they were getting hit for like this offensive statue toy that they released, and it was of Assassin's Creed. It was like a little mini figure, but he's standing next to one of the gate, the gates in Shinto. He's
Mhm.
standing, but it's all a one-legged gate, which has meaning to the Japanese culture because the one-legged gate is like the one that remained after the bombing, the atomic bombing. So it has a lot of meaning to them. So they were like offended that they put it on a toy. So
They seem to shove that game. I'm sorry. Like it's too far gone. Like, and they probably have another Assassin's Creed in the works anyway. Just go with that one. Like,
There's too much ill will with this one now.
that's what I'm saying. Like the Japanese hate it. They absolutely
Japanese
hate this.
hate it, yeah. And then we got the big news that the game has been delayed to 2025. So
During Black History Month, which I thought was a very interesting choice.
they got to get goodwill somehow. Oh man, yeah. Disney does that same thing too. They're putting Cap 4 into February as well. Oh man. Speaking of Disney, the head of Disney Animation is out, no longer with the company. The Ray movie is on hold because also the YTT movie is on hold as well.
That's still a
And
thing.
yeah, apparently they're having script troubles with both of them, so that's why
Oh,
they put
Lord.
them on hold. Transformers 1 did not do good at the box office. Last week it only made like 25 in its debut. I is still waiting for like a Transformer fan to review it because I don't know how good
I'm
this
sorry, I can't make it there yet. I'm trying. I'm trying to see what I'm trying to see what my Tio, because he's like the biggest Transformers nerd.
all the
But-
Transformer people who review movies, or I would, respect their opinion about Transformers, haven't seen it. No one it's just like people from like, the chats and stuff that some say it's good, some say it's bad. I just don't know with this movie.
I almost bought
Um,
the entire Transformers series today at Walmart. It was there. It was $49.99. I was like, I didn't.
There was some internet drama from two people I don't know, Ackman and Andy Pants. So I don't know those people, but apparently one of them did a false flag campaign against the other. So not very nice. A little rapper you might know got jailed. A lot of people erased their Twitter. A lot of celebrities erased their Twitters. And we learned that poor Justin Bieber got passed around like a Costco card. So, and we also learned that Costco does not sell baby.
Does
oil.
not sell baby oil. Did you hear about that, Michael? So you know the whole thing with Diddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Diddy be
so
diddling.
yeah, Diddy be diddling, but also, do you know how much baby oil they found in his like compound?
God, I don't even want to know.
Over 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Dude.
And a spokesman for Diddy said that, oh no, that wasn't used for anything nefarious. We just bought that, or he buys that in bulk at Costco. And Costco replied, one, we don't sell baby oil, and two, if you bought like things at Costco, they would be in like gallon jugs.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're saying, would you buy something in a gallon jug of baby oil means it's even worse. It's like, we don't sell that. So Costco replied and said, we got your
receipts.
receipts.
Pull us down with this.
We got your receipts and you didn't buy baby oil here.
God.
Yeah, so a lot of
And
celebrities
I
not
have
happy.
I have a feeling a lot of people are about to go down, and everybody's like, everybody's like pre saying like Diddy did not unalive himself. They're like, well, we're just like doing this in advance. He did not.
Well, he's on watch for that. So And then, of course, the conspiracies come out that wasn't really Diddy in the mugshot or the mugshot because he doesn't have like the mole or something. So they're like, that wasn't him.
I think John Legend like deleted his things or his stuff too, didn't he?
Dude, J-Lo, Katy
Yeah.
Perry.
Rumors about them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Also, California
So
just recently
disturbing, man.
passed. Well, what's even more disturbing is that California literally passed a law like last week saying people having good times with minors are now no longer like subjected to jail time in certain circumstances. I'm just like, oh, that seems convenient now.
Good
So-
Lord.
I'm just like, just break off
Send 'em
into
to
the sea.
ocean. Yep.
Yeah,
Send
just-
them into the ocean.
The San Andreas fault line
Just abandon that place, man.
Just-
I'm
Lord.
pretty
to go that
sure.
way.
I'm pretty sure all situations were applied. So you get. What is this law?
What is this law? Yeah.
We just need to get like a Costco police tape so it'd be huge and just like tape off California with them.
I'm sure Nevada would be like, oh, thank God. Also,
All right,
Texas would be glad because they keep coming here.
yeah. Someone's trying to like dox Keanu Reeves, so that wasn't nice. Keanu Reeves is a nice guy.
Why would you do that?
I know. What's wrong with you people?
Man's is trying to eat a sandwich. Leave him alone.
Who was
I-
it? Satan?
I can't remember what it was for. It was because he was. Oh, he's in the new season of Ancient Apocalypse, which I know. I think
Didn't know
Michael
there
saw.
was a new season.
Yeah, they're having season 2, and like people aren't happy that he's in it, so they try to dox him. It's weird.
Why would you not be happy that Keanu Reeves is part of your project?
They don't want the science question, Thomas. The science is all. The Thunderbolts trailer came out. Did anyone get to see it?
I thought it would be at the
No.
theater, so I didn't watch it. And it wasn't at the theater. We just got a bunch of random stuff.
I don't know who put it up, but it's like desperation. The trailer. I'm like, yep, that's about right.
You know, it doesn't look worse than like Cap 4, but it just looks like a Disney Plus series.
It's just it doesn't.
Echo Part 2.
I don't know if you guys saw the poster thing where they were saying like the guy on the poster has like 6 fingers, and he really does look like he has 6 fingers, and it's like AI made the
Probably an
poster.
AI poster.
Yeah. Rings of Power was losing to the Secret Lives of Mormon lives on streaming.
That show cannot be beat. I swear. Like,
well, that's a show for ladies.
that's a powerful demographic.
There was a little bit of controversy, weird controversy with IGN's Game of the Year poll they put out. They're like, this is just for fun. Let's put this out. And then what happened was like Black Myth Wukong, right? Just dominated it. It had like 70% of the first place
Jesus.
votes. And then everyone went to bed, and then they came back like at 5 a.m. in the morning, and somehow it went down to like 50% or something like that. And I'm like, what? How did it go down this far? So they thought that maybe like IGN kind of fudged the numbers or something. Everyone's kind of
Probably.
think of maybe some nefarious stuff was going on.
They also had this stupid like headline like, oh, did you know that 80% of people who bought Sun Wukong aren't playing it anymore? And one of the commenters like, probably 80% of the players probably beat the game by now, right? It's like it's been out for about 2 months.
That's
like,
also an accurate stat for basically any game that sells that.
Yeah.
Well. Literally
It's like-
any game that sells that well, people drop
like
off very
that's-
fast.
it's like it's not an impressive stat. So
IGN hates that game for some reason. I don't even know why.
I don't know. I
It's
really
weird.
I can't understand it.
We already talked about Ubisoft. Oh, I forgot one thing. The CEO told investors that they don't. I guess I left off half of the saga. CEO tells investors that they don't push agendas, even though on their website they say they do stand up for DEI. So kind of lie. They lie to investors all the time. Investors must be like super dumb or something because they're always lying. We found that out with like the Disney board.
Oh yeah, the
When they
leak.
were doing their
Yeah,
votes,
yeah.
and it's just like, man, investors start learning something. You guys,
Had that weird thing with the Inside Out too. Like they wanted to make Riley gay, but like the creative director, like the writers were just like, no, this is not part of the. That's not part of our story. And then everybody got like upset about it, and they're like,
yeah.
it's just not what we wanted to do with the character.
Isn't that's either on streaming now or it's like really soon, like the next couple days?
Yeah. That is apparently the most successful animated movie of all time now.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
watch it.
And people are like
Excited.
complaining, like, "Do you know what we could have gotten?" It's like they already made the most successful movie of or animated movie of all time. Like, what they did worked. Leave it.
I know. That just tells me that Disney knows exactly what it's doing. I mean, they don't care that it's not making money because they know they can make money if they make it a certain way. So, the stocks for Ubisoft tanked, and they did refunds and canceled pre-orders for the.
What's crazy is that they're canceling pre-orders, not just delaying it. Which see that's why I'm thinking like I think they're not. They're just going to cancel it. Honestly,
Or they're gonna just totally retool it, maybe like just change the game.
maybe it's poisoned at this point. Like they shouldn't touch it.
A game very similar to that is we got the reveal of Ghost of Yotai, which people were very pumped for because Ghost of Tsushima did very well. There was a little bit of controversy just because people started saying, "Oh no, it's like a woman protagonist. Is this trouble for it?" That would probably just end there until the game was released and you can actually see if it's actually good or not. But the voices are not the voice. I think she's the body actress
Yeah,
for
the mocap.
the main character. She started unfollowing like everyone, and then she said some weird comments about these bigots and stuff like that. So she got into a little bit of controversy. But Sucker Punch hasn't said like anything about it, so they're just kind of ignoring it, which is probably good.
Is it the same character as from Ghosts, Michael?
No,
Not the same guy,
it's
but
like
is that
no, it's like 500 years later or something like that.
Huh.
So, or maybe a couple hundred years. It's
gonna
long
say-
enough to where they're dead.
500 be like 1800? That would be kind of weird.
It was a long time. I remember there was at least a couple hundred.
Okay. Well, I need to take a look. I haven't seen the trailer yet.
Oh, it's cute.
So,
It's
I'm
pretty.
excited. Very excited.
well, and it's actually taking place in Japan with Japanese characters. What do you know?
Disney tax documents say they spent 230 million on the Acolyte, so I've heard like 300 million, but
There is no reason. There's
why are
no
they-
reason that
where
show
are they
should look that bad.
spending that money?
There is no reason that show should look that
On that
bad.
golfer, man. What are you talking about?
Like-
He's beautiful.
Where is that money going?
That movie was twice the budget of Megalopolis. Like,
The show.
the show. Sorry.
Little news that made me sad was Amazon says they're making a RoboCop series. It just no way, man. There's just no way.
It's gonna be a female RoboCop.
He's gonna have his helmet off. He's gonna be talking to the therapist for 2/3 of the series.
Some breaking news. Chris Christopherson died
Yeah, I saw that.
Who dat?
as a singer and actor.
Actor. He was. I just watched a movie with him. Payback. Mel Gibson. He was in that
That movie.
And then just one more news of people being really dumb. The One Piece season 2 cast got released, and one of the actresses is Russian. She was born in Russia, but she didn't actually live in Russia. Her family migrated soon after that, but that didn't stop the weirdos calling for death threats against this actress and wanting her banned from the series. It's really stupid. So lots of big dummies out there.
Big dummy.
All right, big old dummies. So we are good to get into our homework. Who wants to
Yes.
start this time?
The asteroid can't come soon enough. Who wants to
I'm
go?
gonna have Jared start this time. 'Cause he looks proud.
Oh my globe. Jared.
Here's my list.
My
Doesn't have a
list.
Here's
thought he
my
was ready.
list.
My kingdom
No.
for a list.
Why would you
Alright.
think I'm ready?
I thought you would be ready.
Well, you're a fool. What did he say? On
He
one of
leaves.
his?
You offended him.
You're a fool, crusty with pride or whatever.
Yeah, crusty with pride.
You're crusty with pride. Just watched YouTube. I don't really have much. I started off with Beer Pup, which is Meat Cannon's wife's YouTube channel. He mentioned a video where they saved a kitten, and I was like, "Aw!" So I watched it, and she talked about saving a kitten with the process. She also got a cold, hard liquor.
It's a cream soda.
Cream soda. Yeah.
Kind of the process of rescuing a cat and
Mhm.
like how hard it is to, not hard, but like it's scary at first because you don't know if they're gonna make it. It's very touch and go. And then I just started watching her channel. She had one because they live like on a farm and they have like chickens and stuff, and she was like showing off the garden and like all the chickens and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is fun. It's like farm life. And then I watched the YouTuber Hey Peter, which I talked about before because he did a video on the Hylix series. And this time he did a game called Space Funeral, which was made in RPG Maker. It was pretty cool.
Space.
Yes, it was more of just like an RPG.
You don't wear black because you can't be seen.
My gosh.
I've actually been
respectful.
I haven't been dead. I've just been in black. What are you talking about?
And then most of my time was watching Hugby's how it's actually made, and then like fully
Dude,
unwrapped
so good.
videos. Those are good. And then I watched. I mentioned it before. I watched Josh Barrett. He did a video, "The Disturbing Truth About Green Powders," or AG1. You know that one they're always shilling on YouTube channels. I've always been curious about it because Wendigoon's always talking about it. I was like, it can't do what they say, or it's can't be good. And then he did a video on it. It's like they very inaccurately say what's in it. It's like super under basically nothing. It's just like basically like a multivitamin at best, but even at that it's still like kind of not that good of a product. So I was like, oh, makes sense. I don't trust any of like the stuff they say on YouTube.
No.
Like especially Raid Shadow Legend, because that's not fun.
Who was it that did? I forgot who did like a it's not an expose, but they're talking about Raid Shadow Legends. So whenever a YouTuber gets those, do you know how much they pay for an advertisement for like a 15 to 20 second ad? $1,000.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where like if you're like a small YouTuber and you get
Like
the
us.
Raid, well, yeah. Well, that's the thing is that like a Raid Shadow Legend wouldn't be worth doing the video. Like
That'd
really,
be awesome if we just went to
Raid Shadow Legends. Hey,
Thomas is
Jared.
a liar. Raid Shadow Legends.
Hey, Jared, do you know what I did today? Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't know. I'm too busy doing Raid Shadow Legends.
We
So if you
need
ever
to get
see
one.
us- yeah, if you ever see us pimping that, we don't mean it.
But no, like the guy I was watching was talking about, it's like if you're like a small YouTuber and you do a 20-second ad for Raid Shadow, like that's $1,000 in your pocket. Like you've already made bank on the video. So it's like that's why you see like everybody doing it. So
yeah. It's like what's that one, Gamer Subs?
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to taste like crap, but everyone's like, this is delicious.
I had
Someone did a video where they like tasted all the like stuff from YouTube videos, and this is terrible.
The Gamer Subs one isn't bad. I've had other ones. G Fuel's nasty, and I wanted the G Fuel ones because they had the Kaiju number 8, and then they had a Gundam one. I was like, okay, that's cool. So I got like their like a basic one just to try it out. Tasted like crap. I was like, nope, that is terrible. But Gamer Subs isn't bad. It's also like this much. You only need like a little scoop. You don't need too much. I'm not shilling. I'm just and
Thomas has been paid.
maybe
all the sponsors are gonna go straight to Thomas because they'll be like, "Oh, Gundam."
but
Is that a new car on Thomas? Speaking
no. No, but Gamer Subs isn't horrible. It's not. I mean, it's an energy drink. It's not. It tastes great. Like so, take it as you will. It's also mostly just water. So
Then I watched a YouTuber. I've never heard of him, but his YouTube channel is Rob's Media, and he had one on the fall of Danger Dolan. Do you guys remember Danger Dolan?
The name sounds very familiar.
From a while back. He mostly did like top tens, and
oh, I know that name.
It sounds familiar.
because he was huge in like 2010. And I used to watch him, and I was like, whatever happened to that guy? Apparently, it was kind of the thing where like he got super huge fast, and then they didn't know how to like sustain it and dropped off. So I was like, oh, that's sad. I like Danger Dolan. Then there's this new YouTuber I was watching called Self Deficient. Because he had a video called Ball Games, and I was like, what the heck? And it was about like monkey ball, marble madness, games where you're like a ball and you're just playing as that. He's only got like 4 videos. He's got quite a bit of subscribers and views, but he's really good. He sounds like he's kind of like if Aaron from Game Grumps did his own channel of just like reviewing games or something like that.
Can't imagine that. That would be so weird.
But he's really good.
What was that game where you're like a ball, but it's a first-person shooter? You remember that one?
Oh, geez, what was that called?
Balls? Was it just balls?
Oh, balls.
Did you shoot? What?
Yeah, it's like a first-person shooter, but you're a ball. Like shoot other balls.
I don't remember that at all. But that's all I did this time.
Sweet. Pass it, Jared. Pass the ball.
Michael.
I didn't do much. 2 movies, and then I did watch 3 comedy specials at work because I was really bored. I didn't want to do anything else.
Hey.
So I watched both of Jimmy O Yang's specials from Silicon Valley. His first one was good. Second one was really good. I'd seen so many of the clips, so I'd seen a lot of it before because I follow him on Instagram, but they were extremely funny. But and then I watched Pete. Oh no, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy that does the Batman stuff, the YouTube Batman guy, Pete Holmes. And you know, the
YouTube
college
Batman?
humor. He's like, it's the skit where yeah, he does that Batman. Why is Jared Speed Racer?
What, Speed Racer? What the hell?
I guess that's his following.
No, okay, and I'm sorry, I'm calling an audible on this one. I'm sorry, you can't go to black and have that on your screen and have us not like what?
Yeah, you can't expect us not to halt
We're not supposed to
the
comment
flow.
on this.
Anyway,
No, but we have to comment on that. Like what?
I watched his
I'm gonna put Amuro Ray on mine now.
a what?
We're just anime. We're just
Gun-
VTubers now.
Gundam.
Anyway, I watched his most recent special. It was freaking hilarious. You guys should definitely check it out if you're like ever like maybe an hour. I think most of them are an hour, but I don't know. I was laughing so hard though. He's such a weird person. I think the special is I'm not for everybody or everyone, which is true.
An acquired taste.
But it was super funny. Somebody like he had a bit going that I was thinking about during when we were doing Megalopolis. Because he keeps bouncing back to a joke that he's making about people, how he can't stand people at like the midnight ball drop on New Year's. He's like, it's just another day, and everyone's like 10, 9. He's like there, and so he kept revisiting that joke. It was very funny. Like I was like laughing myself in the theater whenever they were at that that moment and they're all counting down. I was just kept thinking Pete Holmes. Anyway, so it was funny. And then I watched 2 horror movies. I didn't do too many this time. One of them wasn't even that horror, but I watched Pearl with what's her face,
Mia Goth.
Very strange movie. I liked it a
apparently
So you started with Pearl?
lot. Yeah, Johnny just told me to watch it. I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
Shit. Well, you might. Okay.
I know there are 3 of them. But
Yeah,
I don't
that's like
know
the
what
last-
happened.
That's like no, that's not the last. That's the
Actually, it
second
should
one,
be the
right?
last one because
Yeah.
that one just came out.
But I
This
think
is-
chronologically, you're supposed to start with Pearl.
Oh, are you? Oh, that's the
Yeah.
prequel one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. Very strange movie. I loved the vibe and like the pacing and the weird. It was shot really well, and then her just performance is just alarming, man. I messaged Johnny. I was like, the crazy hot scale is in full effect right now because she is bananas. But
It shouldn't surprise you to know that she's married to Shia LaBeouf.
Really?
Yeah,
It surprised
He's
me.
married. I'm
They-
surprised.
they have a kid. Yeah.
good for them, man. Good for,
Yeah,
Well, I'm just
good
like,
for Shia.
if like someone would tip the crazy hot scale and be like, I can do it. It'd be like, yeah, Shia,
Shia
that
LaBeouf,
makes
you
sense.
Got it.
That
Probably
makes
a
sense.
fun house. Fun house.
But he's
lot of
Catholic
screaming.
now, right?
Yeah, which is weird,
I
but
don't know.
whatever.
But I enjoyed this one. It was not so spooky, just more of like gory and stuff. But the journey you went on with her was a lot of fun, and then her reactions to things were just alarming. It's those where you're just scared of people, and like whenever she doesn't get the spoiler, she doesn't get the part at the end, whatever, or near the end, and then she just is screaming and freaking out. It's just like you just know that she's gonna do bad things. But then the stupid friend was real nice, but she just can't run. And it's like when people can't run, it's just like take off the shoes. She's not even running yet. She's picking up the axe. Take off the shoes.
That means you're safe. That means you're safe. If your friend can't run, you're good. You can
Yeah,
just.
I don't know. So that was
Hang in there, bro.
Will you look at scarecrows the same way again, Michael?
oh, that was alarming. That was a bit much. It basically was I almost said April Ludgate. I can't think of her name.
The Aubrey Plaza.
It was the Aubrey
of-
Plaza scene in
Yeah.
Megalopolis, but with a scarecrow.
Yes.
Show me on the scarecrow.
That was weird. Then his face turned. It was weird. It was a weird movie. And then I was like, I'm trying to remember. The husband came back at the end, right? Pretty sure. Am I losing my mind?
I'm trying to remember the
Think
ending.
so.
Yeah, because he comes in and she's just smiling through the whole credits, like because I sent a picture of Johnny with my face like that, or she's just freaking out because she's just like, eh. But yeah, I kept wondering what was going to be there because I was wondering if like he never even went anywhere, if she killed him. I don't know. I had a lot of theories going in my head that I was wrong about all of them, but it was a fun watch.
Are you gonna watch X after this?
I don't know what that is. Is that the second?
That's the
chronologically
sequel.
second one? Are these like?
Yeah.
X was the first one, and then you had Pearl, which was the prequel, and then you have Maxine, which is set in the same universe somehow. I don't know. I haven't seen that one
Yeah,
yet.
I had seen the trailers for Maxine, so I thought it was going to be, but then I was like, no, that doesn't work because this is like early 1900s in Pearl, and they had like newer cars in Maxine trailer, but it seemed like
Yeah,
the
it's
same
like the
character.
70s or something
So-
like that.
70s or 80s.
Because I thought it
something.
was going to lead in because in this one she's talking about she want to be an actress, but then they're talking. He shows her the naughty movies in the theater, and he's like, "This is what you could be doing." Then in Maxine, I'm pretty sure she's making naughty movies, but wants to be a regular person or a
A regular person.
she wants to be like a movie actress. We'll put it that way. Is what I meant to say. But and so I thought they were. I don't know how it's connected. I don't know. I'm interested. So you have to put X on my list. But then the other one I watched, I don't remember. I don't know what I did this week. I literally don't. I had
What did
volleyball.
you do?
I had volleyball on Tuesday, but I'm like, I didn't
Are you
watch.
are you
any other
missing
movies.
parts of your memory there, Michael?
I guess so. I don't know what happened.
Do we need to be concerned?
'Cause I didn't watch.
Did
a
you get
lot.
hit by the volleyball and you didn't remember anything?
No, didn't get hit by no volleyballs. I don't know what I did this week. But the other one I watched was the
Go
old.
to work.
Yeah, I did go to work. I watched the old Casper movie. I don't even know what year that was.
90.
96?
The one with
Five?
the
No,
the
I think it's like
president.
92.
I'm almost there.
Bill Pullman.
Is that his name from Independence Day?
Yeah.
The president.
The president.
No, what
Remember
is
the
he?
president
He's
back
not the
then
president.
was
Is he the
Bill
president?
Pullman. Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
movie?
he said Independence Day. Yeah.
He is an
1995.
official U.S. president.
Yeah,
I was
the
right.
president.
In your faces.
That's off by a year. Thomas had 3 years.
I'm sorry.
This movie kind of goes on roller coasters for me because I
does.
was very nostalgic because I haven't seen this movie in ages, but I watched it a lot as a kid. I was very impressed with the like set design and everything. Like, that house is so cool. Like I want more involved, and they need to find that set, pull it out, and make some more movies of it because it was really cool. But then they go a little too far in some things. Then they go really dark in a lot of things for a kids movie.
It is.
The the lady like falls off the cliff and dies, and then she kills the other guy, and then the dad dies because he's drunk, falls in a manhole, comes back, and then they have to bring him back. And I was like, movie's all Casper's like trying to figure out like the reasoning for why he's traumatized, doesn't remember everything. You're like, holy cow, they really deal with everything in this movie. But then there's the most baffling thing to me. I doubt you guys remember this, but the most baffling thing to me is she gets to the new school, right, at her place. She gets introduced by this teacher who's got to be the most airheaded person I've ever met in my life, because all the kids are just making.
You met him?
Yeah. He's like, why don't you come up here? What the heck is her name? I can't remember it, because Christina Ricci plays her, and her name is something weird. But then they laugh at her last name, and then so she goes up, and they're just making fun of her literally the entire time while he's like, come introduce yourself. And they're cracking jokes and just picking fun at her. And he's just by her, just watching her, just smiling. It's like, are you not going to discipline these brats around you? And then they're talking
Michael,
yeah,
we're all homeschooled. We have no idea that maybe that's what it's like. We have no idea.
We don't know.
He's like, this is some good roast.
It's a foreign world. But then they're talking about
good one, Billy.
Billy, A+. But then the teacher's like, well, as you guys all know, we have to cancel the dance because they're doing construction on the thing. And then the rich little girl's like, well, we can have it at my daddy's yacht place or something like that. I don't know. And then she, the name Christina Ricci introduces herself, and she's like, they're like, where do you live? She's like, oh, I live at the old mansion place, whatever its name was. And they're like, oh. And then some random kid's like, hey, we should have the dance there. That'd be cool. And teacher's just like, yeah, we should. It's like, no one's gonna consult a parent or anything, or even the child. It's just like, they have to dance there because that boy
Billy said
it. Billy said it. So it's a very strange side story that doesn't go anywhere, because they all get there. The boyfriend of the rich girl tricks Christina Ricci, is always going to dance with her, and then he puts his sister on the shoulder, or I guess girlfriend on the shoulders. I don't know. They seem like brothers or girlfriend, boyfriend. I can't tell. And then they go in and try and scare him, but then the other ghosts scare him, and then everyone leaves. So this whole side story was very useless. There was really no point to it.
Then those kids
had no school whatsoever in this movie. Would have been the same movie.
Then those kids have to live with the fact that they know that ghosts are real.
Yeah.
And there you go.
True. Oh, and then her mom, who was dead, came back and let Casper, for some reason, the Cinderella story, come back as a boy, and he danced with her at the dance, and they floated. That was weird. And then they kissed. And I thought that they were a bit young to be kissing. It was a little weird. I was like, you're pretty young, and this is like an awkward, like way too romantic 12-year-old. Yeah, it was weird. So
Casper's been dead for 110 years.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like, died of the plague at some point. I don't know, but and then the only last thing I did, I played the most of the demo. I don't know how long this demo is. It's forever long, but of Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh, that's cool.
Atlas game from the Persona people.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what I want, because I like Persona a lot, but I'm like, every time I play one, I'm like, I've just done all this. And so it seems they do deal in days and stuff, but it's definitely like you start off and you're on a journey adventure fantasy thing. Like you're supposed to be undercover going in to give information to an informant because the king died, and there's mischief afoot, and you're trying to all work together to protect the realm and stuff. And it's very cool. The weird mixture of, because if you've seen the trailers, they have third person and turn based. So they have basically like you hold L1, you can kind of see the level of who you're coming up against. It's like the blue is really, really easy, yellow, red. And so if they're blue, you can third person kill them all. So you can have like a mob of enemies and go in and stab like you're playing some third person action game. But then if they're higher than that, they have like a stamina bar, however you want to call it, a parry bar. If you knock that down before initiating turn-based mode, because they're more difficult, so you have to go turn-based, then you get the first hit and they're stunned. But if they hit you, then without that, or you can just automatically go into turn-based mode. So it's a very cool way of doing it.
Persona, where if you hit them in the back,
basically
you get the first hit.
But this is a little more involved, because you're actually you have a dodge roll and literally all that stuff to actually fight them. So that was really cool. There are Persona type things, but not like collecting them. You're just kind of collecting powers, and you have archetypes or whatever. So I didn't expect that to be in it, but I'm very interested so far. I played literally 3.5 hours and didn't finish the demo. So I don't know how long the demo is, and it continues on through, like, you keep your save and you can move on to the game. So it comes out in 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, it was interesting.
Nice.
I'm hopeful for it. So we'll see what happens.
The one thing I remember about the Casper movie is the Casper puppets that came with the Pizza Hut meals.
Not at all.
Yeah, they give you little
We're
puppets.
getting Pizza Hut buffets back apparently.
Yeah.
I want a Pizza Hut buffet.
Mm.
Sounds good.
Mm.
It's all right.
Pizza.
Oh yeah, me too.
Well, we can go to
Only
Cece's,
9.
Michael, and we can get a
No,
ton.
God, the Capitol has a buffet. Jesus.
Sorry, I had to do that there.
I don't know who wants to go last. Who wants to go next to last? I don't know. Thomas, you're gonna be the top by phone. Joseph, be the bottom.
He drops it. He did drop
Thomas,
it.
you're it. I flipped it. So we were done. Thomas, you're next.
Okay. All right. Bunch of random YouTube basically. Start out with Donut Operator. Just a bunch of.
That's not random.
Okay.
We've
For
heard that name
me-
before.
Not for you. That's even less random.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay.
This is on
Okay,
brand as
we're
I've ever heard of it.
We're going with the standard YouTube list here. You got
That's
Donut
fair.
Operator. He did some procedurals. The best one that I saw was, so this guy got tackled by this police officer and he's reaching into his shorts for something.
Whoa.
Yeah, turns out it's a gun. So he shoots two
Not
cops
what
with
I was
it.
expecting.
So he shoots two cops with the gun, and the cop has him pinned. The cop just kind of gets pissed at him because he's still trying to shoot him. So the cop pulls out his gun and blows off his ankle. It's like, huh. Apparently, he was also a soccer player. He's like, not anymore. So, and it was like the worst gun too. That he shot the cops with. It's called a high. I forgot what that's called now. It's a crappy gun. It's like a $180 gun. Terrible gun. Anyway, Fat Electrician. We did a video about Daniel Morgan, who is one of the guys that Mel Gibson's character was based on. Not the Swamp Fox, but the other guy or another guy. This guy was 6'2", about as tall as George Washington. Fought in the Revolutionary and the French and Indian War. Apparently, during the French and Indian War, he got shot in the back of the head with the musket ball. It came out his mouth, and he still lived.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just like,
Sounds like
that would be like the worst thing
like
ever.
Tom and Jerry, like he's smiling and they got a hole through the teeth.
But it knocked out like pretty much half of his teeth, like on this side. But I'm just like, I'm not really worried about the teeth at that point. It's the hole in the back of my head. So, but he lived, and he apparently was. It's basically America's first special forces unit. He was like under direct command of George Washington. He's like, all right, I need you to go out there and just mess with the British. Like, just don't fully engage them. Don't do anything like that. Just like hit them where it hurts and then run away. And then the guy's like, cool, well, I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to win. And so he actually devised a tactic that Nathaniel Greene later used and basically won the war with. So it's very.
Your food sucks.
Your
And
food
they're like, "Oh."
sucks. Dang it. Darn them.
Your dentistry is subpar. So, but yeah, it was a cool video. Just very interesting. Watched Joe Rogan podcast while I was doing house cleaning. It was like a major job for me, so I was there for like 4 hours. So watched one with him and Matt Walsh, which was kind of cool because he talked about, the new movie that came out. But for some reason, I have no idea why. It's a Joe Rogan podcast, so I'm not surprised that it went down this rabbit hole. But
Shrooms.
no,
Oh.
but you're close.
Surprised.
But you're,
Yeah.
But you're very-
aliens or something,
Well,
right?
moon landing
Oh,
on
yeah.
how
I heard about that.
Rogan thinks that he's like, I'm not saying that we didn't go. I'm not saying that, but there's more than 1% that we didn't go. And Matt's just like, dude, I don't want to talk about this. But Joe Rogan proceeds to talk about this for like 45 minutes
Oh
and
my gosh.
basically like held Matt Walsh hostage as he was showing him like videos and stuff.
Just
No,
every other
like,
person on the internet. He's like, no,
Yeah,
but
he's
look at
like-
this one.
He's like, Jamie, look that up. Jamie, look that up. And he's like, look
Yeah.
right there. You see it? You see right there? And Matt's like, I guess it looks like a smudge. I don't know. So, it was,
Yeah.
it was
Joe, I hate this.
Well, he's like, oh, and Matt's like, I guess it's kind of odd. He's like, yeah, that's all I want from you. It's just weird. It's not that I believe it. I just want you to admit that it's weird. And I'm like, I thought this was going to be like a political discussion, not moon landings. So it was a fun listen to, and it got me through the house. So, and then I picked up Critical Role again. I was on campaign 2. Kind of realized why I stopped at one point, because they're just like traveling in D&D is so boring. There's just nothing going on. And so, but got to that episode, and now stuff is finally starting to happen. So it's good. Watched some Garantham. They had an original 1911 Colt pistol from World War One, and they compared it like the 1911s that they have nowadays. And it's like, this gun's over 120 years old, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's kind of a crazy feat of engineering that it just held up this long. He's like, these are really original springs and everything. It's pretty fantastic. Then speaking of 1911s, there's this other YouTube channel called the 1911 Syndicate, and it's about like these guys who are expert on that one particular pistol, but they like to do other stuff. And they went to a bunch of gun shops in Chicago and Pittsburgh. And you're right there, Jared?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sorry, it's just a weird description. I'm sorry.
It was like they do one thing, 1911s, but they do like to do other things. So it's like it's
Okay. Moving on. But yeah, very interesting. Kind of got to see some historical weapons. They had a really cool, I think it was a Finnish rifle that they actually ended up picking up. It's an all wood frame. It's really cool, from like 1930s. So interesting. And then watched a short film called Death and Ramen with Bobby Lee and Matt Jones. He's the guy that plays Badger in Breaking Bad. It's just about a guy who decides to unalive himself one night, and Matt Jones plays a Grim Reaper, and he's like carrying him along, and Bobby's character like wakes up and throws up, and the guy that plays the Grim Reaper is like, oh crap, I guess he didn't die all the way. So it's just them kind of like talking about death, and like, hey, I really need to like have some ramen before I die. He's like, dude, I just need to take. He's like, no. Then he describes like this kimchi ramen that he makes. He's like, it's divine. He's like, all right, it better be divine. So they go to this ramen shop, and he makes it, and the Grim Reaper, he's like, this smells divine. So it is a fun little movie. It's about 14 minutes. So I guess that's it.
But was it divine?
It looks
right.
good. I kind of want to try it out. So
All right, before I get into my movies, I'm gonna just plug a podcast I was listening to, Haunted Cosmos. They kind of like our weird stuff channel. They do all that kind of supernatural things, and unlike us, where it's the question is aliens or not. One of them's like a pastor, so it's always demons or not with them. So
Jesus.
that
So
too,
they-
Michael.
They did some. They did some really interesting ones. There is more like a radio show, so they have like sound effects and stuff going on. They did this one where this great white shark was tagged by some scientists, and then so they were watching it, and it gets like taken like really deep into the ocean,
I've
and
seen
then
that.
it's like no one knows like what ate this shark, and so it's like wow.
Yeah, because it wasn't just like it gradually like made its way
Yeah.
down. It got like pulled down. But it
Yeah,
was like,
they could tell it got pulled down. So it's like,
Jesus.
and like if it was an orca, it'd be closer up to the surface, but it got like deep in the ocean. And then they were talking about like during the Mothman era, there were a lot of people got these weird visitors, like the Men in Black and stuff like that. And the Men in Black are really, really like weird because they look like kind of like humans, but they're like hairless and they just look off. And this one, there was like a little guy, and he like came into this person's office, and he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And he picks up a pen. He's like, "Ooh, I've never seen a pen before."
and then he couldn't remember, and he was like, "No."
Yeah, so that's a fun podcast. Okay, the movie. So I wish I could say Megalopolis was the only weird, director movie I saw this time, but I did check out a movie called The Fall. So have you guys remember the director, or not the director, but you guys remember the movie The Cell
Mhm.
Yes.
with like J Lo and like crazy costumes and stuff? So this is the guy who directed that, and this
That
was kind of
wasn't his weird movie?
no, that wasn't. Well, he had a passion project, right? So it was like Coppola. This one, it took 4 years for him to make because he self-funded as well, and he demanded that they shoot everything on location. So they went to like 24 different countries to shoot this movie. Lee Pace is in this movie. I know
I'd
you
say I
guys
just
like
looked it
Lee
up. I was
Pace.
like, you have my interest.
I'm not used to Lee Pace like this because I'm used to him like doing the voice, the deep voice. Um, and this one, he's like an American dude. I didn't even know he was American, but he's just like a young American dude in this movie. And he's like telling the story to this little girl while they're in the hospital. This little girl has like the thickest accent you ever heard. So sometimes it's hard to understand her. And it's just this weird fantasy stuff with like the weird costumes from the cell. Um, it was an experience. I can't say that I loved it. Yeah, probably better than Megalopolis, but because it has a lot more heart, I would say. Like there's a part with between him and the little girl, and it's actually kind of touching because she's really grown fond of him, and yeah, they've grown fond. They just have this friendship now, and it like kind of saves him from a dark place.
I have heard of this one. Yeah. This
Yeah.
one's mm,
Well, it came out like at a festival, and then no one would distribute it, right? So
mhm.
it finally got distributed this year. It's on Mubi now.
Wow.
And I guess David Fincher and Spike Jones were involved with finally getting it to be streamed because no one wanted to stream it. So it's definitely the sets are gorgeous. Everything looks. They shoot in that one. If you remember the Dark Knight Rises, that prison he was in, they shoot in there. So it's a very cool shot. The story's iffy.
Mm.
It's very like silly. It's very silly. I would say that.
Sure.
So I'm not much of a horror guy, but since it's that season, I did check out the Innocents. I don't know if you guys remember this one. It's from a couple years back. It's a Swedish film, I'm thinking. Um, and it's about these little kids living in this apartment complex and they like start getting powers and
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
don't give little kids power. It doesn't turn out great. It's pretty horrifying. It's not like scary, like it's more the creepy atmosphere. It's not like a jump out like scary type of movie.
I remember the
But
trailers for this one.
yeah, it was actually really good. This is the only time I think, if I can remember, I've ever been sad during a horror movie because there's this girl and she's very autistic, so much that she can't talk. But when they start getting these powers, she's able to talk to like her parents, and it's just like very sad um, that it's just very touching, and that's a weird experience. I've never been sad during a horror movie, but that made me sad. And then the next movie I had, since I had movie, I was trying to like watch all the because they have a lot of interesting movie like foreign films on there. So there's another one I heard about. It's called The Mustache or The Mustache. It's a
Oh,
French
I want to
film.
see that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll try not to spoil it, but it was really good.
You can spoil it. I watched the whole video on like the book it's
Oh,
based
really?
on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. So it's a French film from 2005, and basically it starts like a guy's just shaving, and he like tells his wife, he's like, what if I shaved this mustache off? And his wife's like, I don't know, I've never seen you without a mustache. I might not recognize you or something. So he shaves it off, and no one like notices or no one comments on it. They're just like, oh, you had a mustache once, and it's like because he's he like comes out and he's expecting his wife to go, "Oh no, what happened to your mustache?" But she doesn't say anything. And then like he goes to a party and like, he's expecting his friends to say, they don't say anything. So it's crazy. So he's going mad because no one will comment on his mustache being gone. And finally, he has it out with his wife, and she's like, "What are you talking about? You've never had a mustache." And like he talks to his people at work, and they're like, "Oh, you never had a mustache." And so it's like really mind bending. You don't know if it's like him going crazy or if it's the wife, because there's a part early in the film where the wife's telling this story where she didn't want to like admit to this prank that she pulled on, or she pulled, and it's just like really bizarre for him because like people in his life start disappearing and he doesn't know what the heck is going on. And yeah, it's only like 86 minutes too. It's a real short movie. And I have my theories about it. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to like read up on what people think it means. For me, I think it deals with relationships, and like if when you learn something about like your significant other, it might like change how you view them. And like you have to like you can still love them even though you have like this new like part of them that you never knew about. So that's what I read into it, but I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of theories about what it is. But that was a very interesting movie. You guys should check it out there. So tell me your theories. So that was all I did. Do you guys have any last words on this?
Don't think so.
Nope. All right. So we're going to head out. It's almost time to vote. So go vote out there, especially if you're a man. We need the men voting. So I'm going to go watch The Penguin because that's on tonight. So that's what I'm going to do. Second episode. We'll see if the second episode holds up to the first one, or if that guy at IGN was right. And
Could be
is he only
worse.
give it a 5?
Could be Rings of Power.
Now we got the last one, last episode.
There is a ring involved in the first episode of The Penguin. There is.
True. True. There is a the ring is transferred in that show. So
My God.
yeah. Okay, throw us some likes, subscribe to the channel, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.